GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello everyone and welcome back. Hope you've had a nice weekend, a nice refreshing time off. We are back now for another week in the markets. As ever, my name is Dima and I will be your host for this week, and I'm going to analyze some charts, some markets for you. Let's see what this week plans for us and what the market has in terms of opportunities. As always, I'm going to start with the calendar here. So it looks like it's going to be a very interesting and busy week, one to watch out for. We have quite a lot of things to pay attention to, quite a lot of releases here. So Monday, we've got a couple of bank holidays on the pound and yen. On Tuesday, we have a monetary policy announcement from Australia, an Aussie dollar there, and we also have CPI numbers on the CAD. And on Wednesday, the big one, the federal fund rates from the US there, likely to affect a lot of markets, so really want to watch out for there. Thursday, we have several very likely interesting pieces of news. Just like Wednesday on the yen monetary policy, and then from Switzerland, we've got the SNB rates there, likely to affect the Swiss. And we've got from the UK rate statement there as well on the pound, so watch out for that one. And on Friday, we're going to end the week with bank holiday on the yen and a speech from the Fed on the US dollar there. So quite a few each day will look interesting. Monday, typically a quieter day usually. Yeah, we've got these holidays as well to bear in mind. So from Wednesday onwards, I would say it would get very interesting. Let's see how it plays out. So let's see if we can adjust and play the week with care and where the high probability scenarios are. So I'm going to start with the Forex majors here. So I've got Aussie dollar. Let's begin with that. So we can have a look here. We can see that last week ended up bearish, just pipped below this significant low here from July. And we looks like that hints at a possible another small move downwards to continue lower. I've got a swing here that I'm looking at, this low where price stalled. I'm not going to say that price will go that far, but I am looking for a further continuation. And we also have the 66 round number here. So from where we're at to end the week to the 66 round figure is about 120 pips. And we do have continuation of strength in the dollar from last week. So let's have a look on the 4 hour. So here you can see that we've had this major move away from last week's news and the whole week turned bearish. So again, looking at a better price, of course, the best price I would look for this gap up here. I don't know if the market will create that retracement. It may only go as high as this point here. Just delete that. So let's see what happens if we get a reaction here, and if not, higher up, this will be the much favorable scenario because it's a much higher price, much closer to the high, very deep retracement, and a much better risk to reward. So if the market produces that, then great. If not, then I'll have to see. And then once the reaction is established, then a retracement would be perhaps a safer entry. And then continuation to the downside to this 60.66 figure. So that is bullishness on the dollar and therefore bearishness on the Aussie dollar. Okay, let's go to another one. So next one on majors, we've got dollar yen. We've got overall weakness on the yen as we've been seeing for many weeks here. And now I'm going to continue with that bullishness, bearishness on the yen, bullishness on the dollar. So of course that creates buy bias on the dollar yen. So last week closed slightly bullish, more bullish close, higher close than the week before. Going to look for that to continue. And you can see here last week, middle of last week, we've had this swing pushed higher. So this is now the reference point for the low. And if the market breaks that, then of course, going to have to reconsider the bullish outlook. However, if it doesn't and we maintain this level where we're kind of at here, I'll be looking for a break of the previous swing and then continued bullish momentum and then a retracement and then a continuation of that move. So looking on the higher time frame, we've got this previous high, the high of the current month of September. Zooming out, if I go to the monthly, really zoom out, we've got the extreme high up here. So I don't know whether it will reach there. Let's see, not going to hold out for that, but we have on the way there, we have the 145 whole number, and we also have the 146 whole number. Let's mark that out. So these are significant figures where the market tends to react from. So I'm going to look out for those levels. So you've got this high as a reference point, the media high, and then the 146 whole number there. So let's see, it will depend on the price action if it gives it to us cleanly, if the market does move with clear swing highs, swing lows, creating higher highs and higher lows. So that's the scenario on the high in terms of higher probability on the dollar yen. Okay, let me move on to another one here. So similarly, pound yen. Now, pound yen, interestingly enough, if you were with me last week, I was looking for this scenario to play out. So I did mark out this zone and market moved higher and then made this very quick, very deep pullback. And we're now actually at the zone that we were looking at last week. So only towards the end of the week, we actually reached that. So now that we are here, let's see what happens. Now, if we do get a reaction here, we've got a bit of stalling in the market. I'll be looking for a reaction. And once again, once that I've got that confirmation, a retracement to get a better price, and then looking for possibly these highs. And if we don't reach these highs, we've got this level here as a 166 as a reference point, and we'll see what happens there. So continuation to the upside with the weakness in the yen overall on the higher time frame perspective, and that's the play that I'm looking for here. Of course, if we reach further down and beyond this level here, that we've got the clear place where the market moved away from, just delete this, where we moved away from right here, then obviously a breach of these lows would just completely invalidate and it would be very clearly bearish there after this huge move up. So I'm looking at this as the impulse move, looking at this as the retracement, and now capitalizing on the lower time frame higher probability scenario to continue to the upside. Right, so that is the pound yen in line with the dollar yen. So as I was saying before, as I've said in previous weeks, since both of these are let me find my words, they're both we're both betting on both of them being weakness in the yen, and if that is not the case and we get strength in the yen, then entering both of these trades, both of these ideas, would mean that you lose out on both trades. So yeah, I'm gonna pick them. I'll pick one at least, if maybe not either of them, but if you do, then only one. Okay, next one. Let's go to the next big pair. We've got dollar CAD. So bullishness on the dollar, as I was saying from previous week, and we have got here, as you can see, bullishness on the dollar CAD with the bullishness on dollar, bearishness on CAD oil has been coming down. So we've got that clear bullish close last week, closing more bullish, and then if we look left, we've got this swing high point here as a possible target, which is about 130 pips away from the end of last week. So with that being the target, let's have a look on the smaller time frame. We can see a zone right here that we may reject from. So I will be looking at this possible zone, and from here to there is a nice healthy 180 pips. So if that's the case, then we'll look for that momentum, and if not, maybe a pullback on the lower time frame, and then continuing to that upside. So that's the high probability. Now there's also the idea of this low right here. If we break this low, then we have a deeper area from this low to the current high. Here's the 61.8. So this may also be a zone to watch out for. If this area right here is not rejected and we move right through, then I'll be looking at this one as the next area to pay attention to in terms of higher probability. Yeah, so that is the bullish idea on the dollar CAD here. Right, so slow creep up on the dollar CAD, hasn't it? Has been quite a volatile one, slightly unpredictable sometimes. Okay, that's the dollar CAD idea with a bullish dollar. Now let's move on to the next one. So next, let's go over to the S&P. And here was last week. Let me just go to the weekly picture. Clear, very big bearish candle engulfing previous 2 weeks and rejecting off the zone that we were actually looking at. So very clear rejection there, right on the zone, not going beyond this level. That was the invalidation point, and a massive rejection, and exactly as was planned. So now that we've got this high to reference, we have also broken a major low of the previous week. So we are now, this market is really hinting that it wants to move lower. It really is bearish right now. So the question is where to next and where from? Well, I mark these areas right here. This was the first target. We've got another target here and a third target down here, which is well away. So now that we've broken, the question is, where do we go from next? Well, I'll be looking at the market to make a retracement. So if we have this as a reference high to this low, this zone would be of interest. Let's see if anything happens there. But if it doesn't, then the retracement I'll be interested in is up here. So I'll be looking at this whole move, which is a more interesting one. And this will be the 61.8 and 78 area right here. And a rejection off there would be an interesting one to watch out for. So let's see how it works out, which scenarios. Yeah, with the news announcements this week, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I believe this was news from last week as well. We had a very, very big candle there. Yeah, so likely to coincide with the news, likely to pair up with that kind of time. And that will be the point to watch out for when we do have a reaction. So not clear as yet whether it'll be here or maybe further up, favoring this one, of course, because it's the better price. Yeah, let's see. So the idea is the same as it was with this one. If we get a rejection here after a pullback, I'll be looking to enter. Be a nice risk to reward trade, highly favorable and more probable. And if it does it here on this zone, this lower one, then we're going to have to wait and see. It may be that we get a very unexpected sharp move down. Anything is possible. So if after that happens, then of course that gives a little bit more credence to the fact that we are going lower because we'll be breaking the previous week's low. And if that happens, okay, fine, we're not getting the best price. However, gonna wait for the next opportunity and be looking for, again, good pullback to continue to the downside. So that is the idea here on the S&P, on the stock market. And we'll have to wait and see how what the news wants to tell us, because that will be a major a driving factor here. So let's wait for that. Yeah, watch out for the big news this week. Okay, next, let's go to oil. So with oil, I did mention last week that we may have some choppiness. It may be a bit of uncertainty. Oil may be one to, it's not the most favorable one. Definitely wasn't one that I really liked last week, and I did mention that. And this is what I was looking for, breaks of key swing points, and we did not have that. We had, exactly as expected, some indecision, some more consolidation, ranging movement, whatever you want to call it, on oil, which usually hints that it's setting up for a bigger move. So this is where patience comes in, and this is where you would have to really sit on the sidelines and just observe. And these are the key times, key moments where you don't want to take a big risk, because this is what happens. You need to prepare for this to happen, and as we were last week. Now, the question is, where do we go from here? Well, really, because we're in this range, we're getting into a much tighter and tighter range here. You can see these highs, high and low. We're going right in, chopping in the middle of the range. So I'll be looking for a decision in the market. At the moment, it's indecision, and that would look like either, once again, same as last week, break of this low or break of this high, and then that would give a bit more direction, a bit more clues. Let's wait for the market to play its hand. Yeah, I don't want to be jumping in too early and assuming that this is a retracement and now we're going higher, or we've now made a new high, this is swing higher, now we're going lower. It's a bit of a guessing game at this point, so not favorable at all, I would say. So if anything, this really requires a bit of waiting and we'll see what happens there. Daily, again, you can see on the daily this choppiness here in the market. Yeah, we haven't really gone anywhere. We're just going higher, then come back down lower to basically the same, more or less the same price, isn't it? We started the week here and we ended the week more or less the same price. So it was a mess in between. Probably many people losing out there, chopping and changing here. So yeah, lots of indecision. And you can see that on the weekly picture. We did close bearish, so we still have a bit of sign of weakness here. So if anything, I would say perhaps more downside. However, there's not really enough here, not enough information, even though we do have bullish dollar, as I was saying, not really enough here to make a decision, putting your foot down in terms of really wanting to take a trade. So because it's not screaming out at me here, I'm going to leave this to the side for now until those parameters that those scenarios that are put in place are activated and we have a clearer picture. Okay. Right then, lastly, as ever, let's go with Bitcoin. Okay, so the bearish outlook on Bitcoin, as I had last week, and the continued bearishness on Bitcoin has proven to be the case. You can see last week we did close bearish, made a high, went straight past this area, and right at the beginning of the week, and right into the area I was looking at, and very clear rejection, kind of a similar picture to the S&P here. Clear rejection, clear to see, very nice to see that. So the area that we were looking at was indeed of significance. And with that, I'll be looking for more bearishness for next week. So what does that mean? Well, we've got this low of last week here, and again, a previous level that I marked out at the 15,000 quite a way away. So we're now at 19.5. 15 is quite a distance away. I mean, yeah, it's about 5k away. So loads of pips there. Now, with our continued bearishness, what now? Well, again, it would be nice to get a nice deep retracement from here. And then when we get the retracement, if this is the high that we are looking at as reference point, and this is a low, assuming it doesn't go lower than that at the beginning of the week, we've got the 50 and with 61.8. So I would actually reference this area, which be 61, and then from here another possible drop. So high probability scenario, and then once a drop, not if the high isn't good with the timing and you don't catch it in time, again we can look for a pullback, and again to the low of last week. Now the thing to bear in mind here is that we do have a big ranging, if I mark this out for you here, big ranging market right here on the daily. So many weeks. If I go to the weekly, we've got several weeks of range here. We can see 1, 2, 3 months now of ranging movement. So let's see how it goes here. Still favoring very much the bearishness to downside. So I don't know if we'll break this point or not. However, if we do, I'll be looking at the 15k as the possible target. So let's see if we get that. May not. Yeah, so that's the favorable scenario, favorable risk to reward, and a higher probability, I would say. But again, the market, any market, and especially Bitcoin, can surprise and will surprise. So do not assume that it is going to be the case straight away. Just watch for that and monitor the market and manage your risk. So then, those are the 7 charts for this week. Those are the possible opportunities, and yeah, well, look out for those news. It's a good idea that perhaps you want to manage your risk even more carefully this week because of the news, because of the possible unpredictability. There is quite a lot of news in 1 week, so that does indicate some of possible volatility, and yeah, you watch out for that. So if you're entering, for example, at the beginning of the week, there's going to be volatility later on, so allow for that and bear that in mind when you place your trades and you manage your risk. So as always, that's the key factor in that, the longevity, to manage your risk carefully and trade well. Pick your setups, pick your charts, pick your opportunities carefully this week. And yeah, we've got a few pairs here, and especially dollar-based pairs. We've got the Aussie dollar, Bitcoin based on dollar yen. S&P will react to major US news. We've got oil here, price in dollars per barrel, and dollar CAD as well. So quite a lot of dollar pairs. Yeah, so watch out for that. That's all I can say at the moment. I've given you some possible scenarios, but it will be up to you to choose the trades, choose which setup you favor, and which one you go for. All right, so as ever, my name is Dima. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being with me, and I will see you next week on next week's analysis with, I'm sure, more interesting opportunities. So goodbye for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you then next week.